In the modern world, masculinity is in crisis. Men are more depressed, anxious, and directionless than ever before. Testosterone levels have plummeted, fatherlessness is at an all-time high, and young men are struggling to find a sense of purpose. This isn't just a coincidence. It is the result of deep psychological and societal forces shaping the modern man into something weak, passive, and emasculated. Many boys are raised in a family structure where the father figure is missing or is extremely weak. Many single mothers project their anger towards men to their sons, trying to shape them into men that they think would be much better match for women, but are unaware of the shadow side of this process. They are creating men that indeed don't behave as men that betray them, but have no inner strength, no initiative, and are basically useless to women. They are not a threat to anyone, but because of the removal of their masculine traits, they are now completely useless to society. To understand this crisis truly, we need to look at two key thinkers, Carl Jung and Wilhelm Reich. Jung gives us the symbolic and archetypal framework, why men lose touch with their masculinity essence and fall into anima possession. Reich, on the other hand, shows us how trauma, body tension, and repressed energy create physical and emotional weak men. And when we combine their insights with the social engineering of the modern world, a very clear picture emerges. Jung believed that every man carries with him an anima, his unconscious feminine side. When properly integrated, this allows a man to be emotionally aware, creative, and deeply intuitive. But when it's not integrated, when a man is over-identified with his anima, he becomes passive, indecisive, overly emotional, and dependent. The mother wound is a deep psychological imprint left by an overbearing, emotionally enmeshed, or absent mother. A boy's relationship with his mother forms the foundation of his emotional and psychological development. When this relationship is unhealthy, it can create patterns of dependency, self-doubt, and suppressed masculinity that persists into adulthood. If a mother is overly controlling or emotionally smothering, the boy learns to suppress his assertiveness to maintain approval and peace. He grows into a man who fears upsetting others and avoids conflict, often becoming overly accommodating and passive. If a mother is emotionally distant or critical, the boy may spend his life seeking validation from women, trying to fill an emotional void left in childhood. In both cases, the father's role is crucial. If absent or weak, the boy never learns how to separate from the mother and step into his own masculine identity. This results in men who struggle with autonomy, lack confidence, and remain emotionally entangled in mother's psychological sphere. Breaking free from the mother wound requires recognizing these patterns, setting boundaries, and reclaiming a strong, independent sense of self. An anima-possessed man is ruled by feelings rather than reason. He struggles to assert himself, lacks direction, and becomes trapped in endless self-doubt. He is more concerned with how others perceive him than with his own inner truth. This is exactly the kind of man modern society has created. A man who is conditioned to be obedient, non-threatening, and perpetually apologetic for his own nature. A man that is sorry to be a man. Wilhelm Reich was one of Freud's most radical students, and his work focused on how trauma and repression shaped the body and character. He believed that childhood experiences, especially with the mother, create deep psychological patterns that remain locked in body as muscular armor. Rigid, unconscious tension that blocks energy flow and suppresses authentic expression. Reich identifies several character structures, and two of them are particularly relevant to the emasculated man. The first one is the oral character, needy and dependent. This character is formed when the child is emotionally deprived by the mother, leading to an adult man who is needy, dependent on the external validation, and lacking in inner strength. He seeks approval, struggles with independence, and often feels like he is not enough. The second one is the masochistic character, which is repressed and self-punishing. This one is created when a boy grows up under a strict, controlling mother who suppresses his natural assertiveness. He internalizes shame, learns to hold back his anger and becomes self-sacrificing. These men struggle to express their needs and desires, often feeling trapped in a cycle of self-punishment. Both of these structures create men who are passive, self-doubting, and disconnected from their true natural aggression, and not in a violent sense, but in the assertive, life-affirming sense of words. Reich also emphasized how sexuality plays a role. A man who is sexually repressed, whose natural drives have been blocked through guilt, shame, or cultural programming, will become weak, anxious, and neurotic. His libido, his life energy, is stifled, making him easier to control. If we take Jung's and Reich insights and apply them to today's world, we see that the modern society actively promotes emasculation in several ways. First one is probably the most popular one, which is the demonization of masculinity. Demonizing strength, assertiveness, and leadership as they are labeled as toxic, pushing men towards a more passive, agreeable role. The second one is the breakdown of the father figure. Fatherlessness is rampant, leaving young boys without masculine role models, reinforcing their attachment to the mother's emotional world. Boys are becoming one with mothers and mothers' friends, all of them hating men, which teach men to hate themselves. Another one is the feminization of education and work. School and workplaces now reward conformity, emotional sensitivity, and passive cooperation over competition, risk-taking, and strength. We try to protect our kids, but we actually just taught them how not to be able to fight for themselves. Another one is a form of biological warfare. We have recognized that men nowadays have lower testosterone. This is probably helped by the fact that we have estrogen in our water supply and also endocrine disruptors in food, plastic, and water. This has dramatically lowered male testosterone levels, directly weakening aggression, confidence, and motivation. All of this creates a perfect storm, a society filled with men who are disconnected from their primal energy, their sexual drive, and their ability to assert themselves. This creates a society where women are disappointed because they crave for masculine men, but then end up destroying them because they're at the same time afraid of them. But my opinion is that for a healthy society, we need healthy masculinity. Join me in the next video to find out how to fight against this trend. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and please like and comment. Thank you so much. Love you all.